Okay, so for myself, I've figured out what I'm doing for my research topic. My research topic is going to be social justice. And um, while I realize, it's important, it's nice to have this topic. It's also important to like kind of keep in mind what our goal is. And remember, our goal is uh 4 to 5 page paper because it's 6 to 7 pages with title page and references. So we've got this 4 to 5 page paper. So we've got to write that. It's going to be a synthesis paper where we're following the model before, paragraph, um, where each paragraph has is focused around a topic. So um, focused on a topic, um, and each body paragraph has at least 2 sources. That doesn't mean 2 times that it references one source. That's 2 sources, so that you can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter, but you do need to have at least 2 sources referenced in each body paragraph. So I said each paragraph, but I mean each body paragraph. It's going to be very similar to paper 1, where you also have introduction and conclusion paragraphs as well. So that's important. You've got these paper that you're going to write. You might not know the topic of your paper. There's a few different formats you can use. But hopefully what's going to happen is that as you're reading, you're thinking about how are you going to structure this paper. So the first thing that they recommend doing is turn your research topic into a question is to use reporter's questions. So I've got this topic of social justice in CSR, meaning companies using images of political causes in their advertising. So, is that good? Is it bad? So, we'll think about that. So use reporter's questions. So what that means is if we're looking at the page 115, I think that's correct. Yep, page 115, we can see that it gives us these steps. So that means that we're going to follow these steps. I'm going to read the introduction that says, no matter how narrow your topic, you will not write an interesting paper without a meaningful question that you and your readers will want answered. Your research question will give you an angle on your topic, something that matters to you. To turn your topic into a research question, try the following. Use reporter's questions. Ask yourself who, what, when, where, why, how. On this list, the words most likely to produce a good question are why and how, because these lead to analysis and evaluation. How did the national debt become so enormous is a good example. But do not rule out other question words because they can also lead to thought-provoking questions like, what personality types are most attracted to social networking sites? So let's go ahead. I'm going to who, what, when, where, why, and how. So they recommend like why and how. So I'm gonna think about some questions there. Why do companies include messages of social justice in their advertising? So, and again, one thing I want to remind you about is that as you're making these questions, don't forget that you want to stay connected to this idea of corporate social responsibility, where we've got this balance of profits, direct, like those who are directly connected, customers, employees, shareholders, supplies, and those who are indirectly connected, the general public, environment. This is also connected to the definition that we found from the encyclopedia, where we're concerned with ethics, operating legally in respect for people, communities, and the environment. So let me go ahead and I'm going to put this information right here. So we have to have this connection to CSR. So maybe one question itself doesn't have a direct connection, but that's okay. It's part of our process. So let's go back to making questions. How do the communities of social justice benefit from marketing featuring their images? And some of this might feel like you're not entirely sure what I'm talking about, but the idea that I'm thinking of are things like, like Colin Kaepernick in the Nike ad. We've got a lot of, around June, there's a lot of, that's Gay Pride Month. There's a lot of companies who have products and advertisements where they have, like, show that they support gay marriage or things like that. So let's go through some of the other questions. So who, what, when, where, I might try like, when did this kind of advertising start? Because I don't think that it's been around forever. Usually companies are just like, showing their image, their product, and they're not trying to make a political stance. So what are some of the consequences for companies showing their support for political causes? So who makes the decisions about what causes, who at the company makes decisions about what causes to support? So that's a question. Where is this kind of advertising most common? So maybe we can think, is it most common in the US? Is it Europe? Is it Asia? So where is it most common? Where do we see this type of advertising? So those are my reporters' questions that I've got so far. And I think, trying to answer some of these can maybe lead me down uncovering what's interesting to me and what I really want to focus on. Because I think, we see all these specific examples. I'm going to even, so I'm going to say, what are the consequences? Like, what are examples of these types of campaigns? So I think that, there's a ton of these different types of campaigns that it's going to be hard to pick just one. And do we want to think about times that it was done well, done bad, or is that going to be like the focus? Times it was done well, times it was done bad. So that's something to think about. We've got a couple other strategies that we're going to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and do those in the next videos.